So the first thing I wanted to do, guys, is introduce you to the team, the Wilmington Blockchain Cryptocurrency Group. Myself, Valerie Melvin, I've got
Laura Taylor.
Laura Taylor, and also Matthias. And we have Keith McDowell, or Matthias McDowell. We have Keith Markfield, who's not with us, and also Nicole Rainey, who is a member and helps us out. We want to give a shout out to Ironclad and thank them greatly for letting us have this here. And be sure and get yourself a drink and make yourself comfortable. We really appreciate them letting us have this here. You guys, if you are normally with us, we usually meet at Tech Mountain, and they are having a little celebration tomorrow for all of the meetups. So be sure to come out and join us if you can. It's from 4:30 to 6:30. And they celebrate all of the meetups and give their staff a little bit of a break from the meetups that we do. But we'll be back there in September, so make sure that you join us again in September. We have two featured speakers for you tonight, and they're both local companies that use blockchain technology. We're going to start with Perry Pridgeon with Elite Gaming. And he's going to tell you a little bit about Elite Gaming, and then we will move to KWHCoin, and they will discuss, Monica Shepherd's with us, and she'll be discussing their project and what they're doing. So we'll start with Perry. And we'll save the questions for the end, guys.
Hello everyone. My name is Perry Pridgeon. I'm CEO of Elite Gaming Environment. We're a blockchain technology company based right here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Our first project that we're working on is a social media app for the video game community. Video game industry generated over $109 billion last year, and is expected to increase by 7% by the end of 2018. Needless to say, that's a huge market. That's the market we're looking to tap into. There we go. There are a few problems with the video game market, especially socially. Number one, two competitors can play the exact same game on two different consoles. Once they find out they're on two different consoles, conversation ceases, because basically they have nothing to do with each other. It's like two different worlds. Also, there could be a tournament going on in Wisconsin, a league going on in New York City. As of right now, us as gamers, and I'm an avid gamer myself, have no way to know about it, because there's not one place to go to find out things of that nature. That's what we're trying to fix with our app. We're the first blockchain technology app to put together an app like this. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put together tournaments, leagues, all within one app. You'll be able to check stats, your friends' statistics, anything going on in the video game community through this one app. We also want to conduct interviews for top-notch gamers, basically create superstars. So when two players are getting ready to play a game and whatnot, we can hype it up. Everyone across the world can see it and have rooting interest in that game because they feel like they know him. I like to use the example of LeBron James. Everyone feels like LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world. Why? Because he plays in the best league in the world. He has a platform to show his skill set. That's what we're trying to do with this. We're trying to give video game players a platform. That way everyone will know if they're the best, truly the best, because they're all performing within the same atmosphere. That's what we're trying to do with this app. be a utility token, meaning that you'll be able to use the token within the app. We're going to use the freemium model, meaning it will be free for spectators. And if you want your stuff saved or to keep up with your statistics, then you'd have to do a paid subscription, which you could also pay with the EGE token. So we have a lot of different uses for that as well, and give people incentive to keep the token generating within the blockchain. So that's the gist of it. We're trying to do cross-console communication all in one app, make a one-stop shop for video game players. That's what we're hoping to achieve. Thank you all.
Do we have any questions? Anybody want to ask?
Yeah.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Can't get away so easy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. So how long have you been in existence?
Approximately 7 months. Not too long. We've made a lot of progress in a short period of time. Thanks to Gerard Newkirk, CEO of KWHCoin. He's the one that enlightened me about blockchain. And, you know, once you learn something, you learn how to, what's the word I'm looking for? You learn how to make it into something that you can relate to in your own world. And I thought about it, you know. Like I say, I'm an avid video game player. And I thought about what a gamer would want or need that can relate to blockchain. This is it, you know. I don't have one app in my phone dedicated to the video game community. That's crazy with a market that's so big. If it existed, trust me, I would have it.
Well, that's my next question, which is there, you imply that there's no competition. So there's nothing like what you're doing.
No, sir. All the other blockchain apps for video games they're trying to create a new video game, or they're trying to sell items that are currently on video games, things of that nature. Nothing to impact video games socially, per se. We're not trying to recreate the wheel here. We're simply trying to organize what already exists.
So how far are you?
As far as
Do you have a protocol?
I have a developer who signed on to create it, to do all of the blockchain work, and so we're in the beginning stages right now. It takes a little time, but if you look at where we were 6 months ago and where we are today, well, we made a little progress.
So what's your plan? What's the plan?
Well, we're looking to develop this app. Well, first we have to get the funding to develop the plan and this and that, and so I'm looking at maybe a 2-year window.
So how do you plan to get the funding?
Well, we have an ICO. I like you. You got a lot of questions. We're having an ICO launching maybe in the next 2 months. I'm thinking maybe a month and a half. If, you know, we're lucky. That's going to generate some of the initial funding. I've already talked to some private investors who love the idea and want a piece of it too. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
Are you guys a Ethereum based?
Yes, we're going to be on the Ethereum blockchain.
Okay.
So we're not creating one, and essentially we're going to be using theirs. Yes, sir.
How do you use blockchain for what you're doing? I don't understand what it's doing, what the advantage of blockchain, how it gives you.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
What does blockchain give you this market? Why do we use blockchain?
Why do I need it? Well, when we keep our statistics, we're going to use a blockchain format, because in order for people to upload their stats, both users are going to have to do it. So if both users are uploading their information, you can't manipulate it. Everyone has, you know, anyone who knows blockchain knows everyone has the same information, so you can't manipulate it. That's what we're trying to do. But also with the EGE token, that's where we relate it to blockchain, using the EGE token, which would then be used to pay for items and subscribe. Yes, sir.
Is there going to be some kind of reward system for the players?
Yes, we're going to have a reward system for the players. Like I said, we hope to have an interviewer who will interview players who are doing well. So, anybody who knows video games, mostly about bragging rights. So you'll get notoriety within the video game community. And the way I see it, there are blurred lines between the PS4 and the Xbox. We, Atari, for Pac-Man lovers, anything, there's blurred lines. What we want to do is we want to bring the whole community together in one app. So even if you can't play against a person, you can compete with high scores, because you're playing the same games just on different consoles, and you'll be able to see what your friends are doing. I have a PS4. I have no idea what my cousin's doing on Xbox One. I have no way to see it. PS4 has no interest in showing me what someone's doing on Xbox. I'm not affiliated with either. I'm about the people playing the video game, not the video game itself. That's it. Thank you.
One of the things that you said that I like the most is that you thought of a problem and you thought of a way of solving it, and that's what I love about blockchain. So I'd like to introduce you to Monica Shepard, who's going to give you some information about KWHCoin. I actually think these guys are going to change the world, so pay close attention.
No pressure, Monica.
No pressure.
I'm all about changing the world. Oh, where's the clicker?
Well, that's but you don't have to point it there. Hello, everyone. Like she said, my name is Monica Shepard. I'm the COO of KWHCoin. And all right, thank you. KWHCoin, we're a blockchain-based renewable energy company focused on providing electricity for the 1.2 billion people across the world who don't have access to electricity. So we're essentially going to be promoting value at the edges of the grid. One of the things that we're going to focus on with the blockchain technology is peer-to-peer trading. We're creating a peer-to-peer trading platform. We're also going to be offering solar home systems on a pay-as-you-go method. Our application is about 50% complete, and once the application launches, we'll be able to use all the technology that's needed to provide the services that are needed for the individuals or families who currently lack access to electricity, or we'll be able to offer access to electricity at a cheaper value. And we're also going to be doing microgrid infrastructure. So we have already gone through our crowdfunding. Our pre-sale was back in December, and our ICO was on February the 8th. With those two sale fundings, we were able to raise about $2 million. Right now, we're listed on 3 exchanges: Big Fix Stock Trade, CoinEx Market, and Top BTC. We have our listing on several platforms, and we're happy to say one of the largest, most notable platforms that we were listed on, which is CoinMarketCap. We were listed as of yesterday, so that really increased our trading value of our currency. We have several partnerships, and like I said, we started back in December, so we're very successful and very
excited about the partnerships that we've been able to secure up until this point. Television, and I'll give you more information about what these partnerships are going to do on, further down into the presentation. Angaza, Green Button Alliance, Nurse in Hand, the Chariot Group, Solarium, and Cape Fear Community College Sustainable Technology Partner. So we're going to be doing a project in Puerto Rico. Of course, we know what happened with the families there. As a result of the hurricanes, the entire main grid was destroyed. So there were over 1 million people without access to electricity. We've already traveled to Puerto Rico on several occasions. Right here you will see Gerard Newkirk, he's our CEO. And what we've been able to do is meet with the local officials, assess the situation, especially in some of the remote areas where the main grid will not be connected for several years. So what we're going to be doing, we have a total of 7 municipalities, totaling over 200 homes. We're going to be offering the solar home systems or the microgrid infrastructure to provide the services needed for the families. Our next partnership with Television will be installing 50,000 solar home systems in Sierra Leone, and these will be on a pay-as-you-go. So we realize that there's a lot of people, families that they're not able to purchase the systems up front. So with that pay-as-you-go software is going to be installed in the solar home systems, which comes with the television, the solar panel, light bulbs, and access for them to plug in their cell phones and any home appliances. One of our partners, which is Angaza, I mentioned, they're the ones that will be installing the pay-as-you-go software. All of these generation, all the transactions, everything will be processed on a blockchain. So it'll be secure, it'll be trusted, and there'll be no issues with security breaches. We also have a partnership with Nurse in Hand. That's in Nairobi, Kenya. We did travel to Nairobi, Kenya. One of the things that we noticed is that they do not have a 911 emergency response system in place. I mean, they have medical professionals, they have the police, and they have the hospitals, but none of them communicate to each other. Over 3,000 Kenyans are killed on roads every year. And the reason why is because when there's an accident, no one knows about the accident, and it can take hours before someone is actually dispatched to get to the accident. So what this system is going to do, the application is 100% complete. It's going to merge all these emergency response personnel together. If there's an accident, they'll be able to install the software or the application onto their cell phones, and they can dispatch through our hub. There'll be a hub set up. They can communicate either through selecting some sort of indication on the application, or they can call in, and the nearest emergency response individual, they'll be on their mopeds or the bicycles, will be dispatched for them to assess the situation and then call for additional medical personnel to come to the scene of the accident. We also have a partnership with the Chariot Group, and that's through our nonprofit, the Mastella Foundation. And we'll be creating a village-based economic businesses in the rural communities of Kenya. And that will be through solar and also through water. So what we understand and realize is that once individuals receive the basic needs, the basic necessities, then we can empower them to be economic growth opportunities we'll be installing some, like I said, solar, we'll do the boreholes for water, and then we can help them create agribusinesses. And here we have a picture of our CEO, Gerard Newkirk. We traveled to Nairobi, Kenya back in March to participate in the World Blockchain Startup competition, and we actually were the regional winners of that competition. Questions?
I've got one.
Sure.
Actually, lots of them.
Okay.
And I'll start with one, let somebody else get in. It was Monica, right?
Yes, that's
Thank
correct.
you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
And you mentioned that you're 50% complete with your application.
That's right.
What does that mean, 50% complete?
That means we have our first beta app that was just launched. So now if you were to look at our application, you can see, and we could pull an image of it, what it's going to look like once it's launched. Once someone pulls it up on their phone, it will show the individuals that have joined the app,
Yep.
whether you have your own energy that you're generating, it has to be some sort of renewable energy, or if you're looking to purchase energy from your neighbor. And then it'll show a map, similar to what you saw with the nurse in hand,
Yep.
and it'll identify all the locations of the people that are in your area, where you can actually go on, chat with that individual, and begin to negotiate the cost of what they're willing to sell their energy to you. That's our peer-to-peer trading platform.
So I can buy energy.
You can buy the data. So in a deregulated power structure, of course, not North Carolina, but let's say California. If you live in California, and if you're generating your own energy, solar energy, any excess energy that you have is going to go back to the grid. So what you're able to do, you capture your data
Yeah.
through smart meters.
Yeah.
So let's say you generate 1,000 kilowatts,
Yeah.
but you only use 500.
Yeah.
You can take the other 500, load it onto our blockchain,
Yeah.
our application, but every 1 kilowatt of energy is tokenized. So then you can sell it. And typically it's going to be based on the average market value of whatever the energy is selling at the time.
So if I live in Northern California and somebody's generating excess solar in Southern California, I can go on the blockchain and buy your token, and I can use that token to buy those electrons and have them delivered to me in Northern California?
Well, you would not purchase the token, it would automatically convert into a digital energy token, as long as you're on the same grid. So if Northern California and Southern California, if you're on the same grid, then yes, you can use the platform for that.
So who pays for the transmission from southern to northern? We're on the same grid.
If you're on the same grid, that is your energy, so that's your value. So in other words,
I don't get it, Monica.
I understand.
Okay.
So right now, people can do that now with Duke Energy. So if someone's generating energy,
Yeah,
and you don't have the capabilities to store whatever energy you
Right.
use,
right,
it's going back to the grid.
right,
So Duke Energy is going to send you a check for 4 cents a kilowatt.
right,
So in a deregulated situation,
right.
instead of you getting 4 cents a kilowatt from Duke Energy, you can get 10 cents a kilowatt from your neighbor.
Correct. Isn't the basis under which a lot of people generate solar energy it's based on their deal with the providing backup utility to buy net metering, like?
And
they're
in
buying,
a
and they
regulated,
get
yes,
a tax rebate for doing that?
in a
So that would
regulated,
exclude them being able to sell it to me in Northern California.
you can do that now in California. You have to be on the same grid though.
So
So you
I
can
would,
sell
I
it.
would exclude my commitment to the utility
You wouldn't
and get
sign a
rid of my
commitment.
tax deduction.
It was up to you. I mean, you don't have to necessarily sign a commitment with the grid owner. So this gives you that as an option. And if you choose not to sign the commitment with the grid owner, or take the tax break, and you see that you can generate more revenue by becoming your own power source, then that's your option to do that. And this platform gives you the ability to do it. It's already being done in the Netherlands, in Germany, and other countries, the peer-to-peer trading, energy trading. So essentially what we're doing is creating that internet of energy through blockchain. Yes.
I'm not there yet. Let somebody else ask.
Where,
Okay.
so, like, Joe mentioned, the value for those people that are sending it back to the grid comes from the value set on the utility.
Right.
that value is coming from other peers who are demand for wanting that kilowatt hour of renewable energy.
Right.
Why would they pay a premium more than what they would be paying, what the utility would pay? Where does their motivation come from for them to pay more money?
So the utility is more than likely, so right now, the national average of a kilowatt hour of energy is 11 cents. If you, in most cases, were to sign an agreement with the power company, whomever it would be, you may get 4 cents. So you have that window between the 4 cents and the 11 cents to sell your energy to someone else who would get it for a lesser amount because they don't pay the 11 cents. And you would actually get more because you can sell it for 5 or 6 cents.
As long as you're on the same grid and there's no cost for
But
transmission.
the utility would have to agree to that because they
Right,
are
so
paying the actual electricity.
it's deregulated. So there are states right now where you can do that because it is deregulated. In Puerto Rico, it can be done because there's not a regulatory system that requires that you only get your, funds from the main grid operator.
So, how would that be tracked? Because if it's tied into the customer selection system, it has to go somewhere from there into the utility grid.
It goes into the utility grid. That's correct.
So it would be tracked by a recommended meter from the utility.
Your smart meter is going to track your usage, your
Sure.
generation.
And that meter is provided by the utility, correct?
You can purchase your own smart meter. One of the partnerships that we have is the Green Button Alliance. And what they do is they focus on providing, or they look at the different intricate systems in smart meters.
So you're becoming your own
Utility company, exactly.
and you wouldn't be connected into your home first.
I'm sorry, you're generating it through your solar panel.
But if it was also connected into your home and a separate meter that's not a utility meter, it would have to go back out through the utility.
It does that now.
So the utility would be the one tracking it.
Your meter tracks everything. Utility company takes, right now, if you're Duke Energy or whomever, they take your data from your meter. Your data is your value. So it's your meter that's tracking what you generate the same way that same meter tracks right now your usage. So when you,
If Duke is tracking it, or whoever your utility is tracking it, and it's going onto their grid, they're just providing you with that data. They're not saying that this is our energy that's coming onto our grid.
right now, Duke, if you were to generate your energy, your solar energy, you don't have a way of storing it to keep it until you use it all. So yes, it goes back to Duke. And that information, that data, is what would go to Duke right now if you were to get a refund check. Right, so that same system is in place to be used for peer-to-peer trading.
So in an unregulated market,
Yes.
it's like a pass-through and just saying, this is coming off the grid, but we're not crediting you for it. It just happens to be on here, and you have complete autonomy over that data.
That's
and
right.
Sell it to the highest bidder.
Exactly.
Then who pays for the transmission to the recipient?
The transaction fees?
No, the transmission.
The
The-
utility.
If you're generating in your home through solar panels and the smart meter is keeping track of what you generate and it's going up onto an unregulated grid, who pays for the transmission from my location where I generated it to the recipient who bought it?
That's above my pay grade, sir.
That would be more
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the platform is there as an option. That's just
This
one of the
system
things.
can't work unless you have your own internal grid. Everybody's on the same grid. And you're.
Well, it does work now. If you were to look up, right now, if you were to go and look up articles, it's working now. I mean, it's being done.
It's not literally going to the person.
Yeah, is not understanding.
Oh, yes, sir, Matthias?
So, I've got a question. I know Tom's been an energy for years.
Right, he sounds like it. I mean, I I got grilled in, Africa just like this, so I'm okay. From an electrical engineer.
But I see this point though, like, you know, there's many states we're far off from.
We are, North Carolina is.
And some states are closer to that. But like this is a global thing that we can take advantage of. Where do you see this being adopted first? 'Cause I know it'll be.
That's the reason why, right, that's the reason why our focus is now, we're looking at it, some of you may look at it from your own backyard in North Carolina. What we're looking at it is more on an international level as far as this type of systems, this type of peer-to-peer trading, this type of services. Because we're going to go in, let's say, in rural Kenya. I mean, the reality is, there's about 300 million people that live in the United States of America. Right? 600 million people in Africa doesn't have power at all. If you were to look at the satellite of Africa at night, the entire continent is dark. So our goal and our focus, going back to our mission, is to provide that energy to that 1.2 billion people across the world. In the rural communities is where we're going to be installing those solar home systems for those families that need the power. Those are the rural communities are more scattered. Now, when you go into the areas where there's more clusters, that's where we're going to build out the microgrid. Those microgrids are going to connect to those houses. So in a situation where there's one home that's generating more than the other, they can sell their energy to their neighbor.
I got that.
So that can work,
Makes sense.
right? And so that is a lot of our focus. I mean, it can be done. I mean, there's another blockchain company called SolarCoin, and they're very, very, very prominent in California. I mean, California, when it comes to solar energy, they're generating more solar energy than they can use for the entire state. So that method is working there. There's other states that are deregulated, and they're actually partnering with blockchain companies to do that same type of peer-to-peer trading process. Like I said, of course, North Carolina, we're not there yet.
Excuse me, Monica, that's all, everything you said is true in the sense that California is generating more solar than they can use. The problem with solar, like many renewables, is it's very expensive to store it. So it's not something, when they generate too much of it.
That's why it goes back to the grid.
Yeah, well, where does that go?
It goes back to the main grid, and then they can sell it.
No,
to
they can't. There are times of the day when they've got so much energy, they don't have any place to sell it. So if you buy that unit of energy, that kilowatt hour of energy with one of your coins, it disappears if it's not needed. If there isn't a load immediately to take that.
We have another situation where if they're not able to sell their energy at the moment, they can always convert that as a value. That's why we have the currency.
But where does it go? The thing
the
that's
data.
generated, yes, it
It's their
becomes
data.
data. But,
So
but
data has
that data
value.
has no value except as data, because it's not being used to do any work that creates
Yes.
value.
So, if that already is written data, that also comes on, almost like an IOU, but then oftentimes the energy spikes, therefore it can't be sold because there's not enough people to buy what is there. If you have it as credit, as a token, can't you buy it at a later date when the energy spikes? Therefore, since the sun's always gonna be there, it's always gonna spike on a later date. Therefore, the credit still stands whether or not it's there.
It's still there, it's in their wallet. I mean, the tokens are gonna be.
It's just like,
There are hours in
it's
the,
like tomorrow, I'll buy it.
there are hours in the day in California when the only way people who have solar make money is because of the tax credit. They're actually selling that energy on the market for negative cents.
So, before that would do the negative sense, if you trade for credit.
Yeah, but then if you buy
Well,
one
it's
of
just-
the tokens,
Market says whatever the value is.
The market sets the value.
Yeah.
Yeah, the market sets the value.
And if
I've only been in this business for 35 or 38 years. This
We respect that,
concept
sir.
cannot work unless you have
We
your
respect
own
that.
microgrid.
But like I said, our
It has
project,
to be all
right,
connected.
the blockchain technology project is bigger than just one state. And like I said, our focus is, we've always ran our, our mission is the 1.32 billion people in the world that doesn't have access to electricity. And so that's our focus. Yes, sir.
A little more rudimentary question, but related to your work in Puerto Rico, how is what you're doing there different or similar to what Tesla has announced that they're doing?
They're doing the microgrids, but the thing about it, some of the areas that we travel to that we're going to be focusing on is like the very, very remote areas. Like there's a community called Orcocas. It's very mountainous. There's another community called Luisa. So in those communities, I mean, the grid is totally destroyed. We have an alternative solution, not only with the solar home systems, but also we have a partner in which they can extract the energy from water. Of course, we know Puerto Rico is surrounded by water. So there's, we don't ever look at ourselves as competing with any other energy companies that's there. We just look at it as we're all coming to meet the needs of the people. So there'll be similar systems, similar processes, but as far as blockchain, we're the only company at the moment in Puerto Rico that's going to use the blockchain technology as a form of generating power.
In a macro system.
The microgrids, the mini grids, yeah, and then also those whole solar home systems. Our partner Television, they've already installed 6,000 of those in Sierra Leone. So we're going to do another 50,000 in Sierra Leone, and Puerto Rico has given us pretty much the green light to come in and do about 200,000 homes. Yes, sir.
Is the Puerto Rico method similar to the Sierra Leone, the pay-as-you-go?
That will be the same method. And like I was telling you, our partner Gaza, they're based out of Nairobi, Kenya. Their software will already be installed in the systems when they're shipped. And then we're going to integrate through APIs, we'll integrate our coin into that pay-as-you-go system. So they can use KWHCoin to make their payments. And we'll set them up on weekly pay-as-you-go payment plans. And what it does is when they make a payment, let's say week 1, and then for whatever the amount of money that they paid, it will unlock the box for that amount of time. And then they have to make another payment to keep the box. They'll get an unlock code each time until the box is paid in full, and then they'll get a permanent unlock code, and then they'll have energy. They don't have to worry about it shutting off. But that's an easier way for us to be able to offer the system if they don't have the funds to pay it up front, but then also make sure we don't have a high attrition rate.
Yeah, are there any concerns about, because it's being on cell phone, a lot of times, not how it works, how they make
It'll be on cell phones. 90% of Africans have cell phones, only 70% has power.
Because I know, even here, it's
Yeah.
difficult to keep a system communicating, just monitoring it, keeping a connection to the internet. You
Yes.
don't have to add an extra infrastructure to keep communication through the system.
No, I mean, they have energy. When I traveled to Nairobi, I mean, one thing I realized is that everything that we see on TV about Africa is not true.
I mean, for
Yeah.
cell phone service in like.
It's very strong. It's very great. And our partner Television, he's from Sierra Leone, but he lives in Raleigh now. His name is Al Ture. And he also has a cell phone service in Africa. So we, connecting with him. And also they have what they call, there's a company called Safari.com or Airtel. There's a lot of cell phone mobile service wireless providers in Africa. So they'll be able to connect, because that's how they do it now with the 6,000 units in Sierra Leone. They'll call in through their cell phones and then make a payment, and then they'll get a text with the unlock code. Yes, sir.
Hey, Monica,
Hi.
congratulations on a successful
perspective about doing an ICO and being a blockchain, not so much about what you guys are doing for development. I'd like to hear operations, what doors have opened up since you decided to go on blockchain, and what difficulties have you run into with being a blockchain?
Well, I mean, we started in December, and we were already ready within 7 months to launch our projects. Of course, we've run into some roadblocks because this is very new to us. But as far as the doors that have opened, it allows us to step into a world that's new to some, but not to others. But people are very interested in blockchain technology. And when they hear, especially when they heard about us being here in Wilmington, you know, we got a lot of great feedback because it is new, but people want to learn a lot about it. One of the things that's great about our partnership with KWHC Community Colleges, we'll be in a situation where we can go into the classrooms and help people learn about blockchain technology. So those are the types of doors that have opened up for us being in that blockchain world. Now, some of the roadblocks, of course, going through ICOs, going through dealing with the social media platforms, with the Telegram and the Twitter, and answering a lot of questions about exchanges and our value. And, you know, like I was saying earlier in the presentation, is you don't have validation unless you're listed on CoinMarketCap. And I think it took us longer than I would have wanted it to happen, but it happened yesterday. And when it happened, our trade volume was up to over 900% within 24 hours. So that just shows how quickly, once you're in the right spot at the right time, how things can really change overnight.
Any other
Whose idea
questions?
was it?
Gerard Newkirk.
So it was his idea to create
KWHCoin. Yes, he is a native. We're all natives of Pender County. He's a native of Pender County, and he traveled to California about 3 years ago. He went out there to work for Macy's. And then he got very involved with Bitcoin, blockchain, and he always wanted to do something as a mission to help people, and he saw this as a great opportunity.
So who created the protocol that's under development?
Gerard is the software developer.
And who's the software developer?
His name is Vishal.
I thought the Shaw reading on the website was just kind of the market maker of that.
No, Afrotech is the software developer, and that's Vishal. He's originally from India. He's already built 4 blockchains, but right now he resides in New Jersey.
So if I go to is there a place to see the information flow? You mentioned the application, the beta, being, is it available to test?
We have it's not for testing. Version 1 was released.
Yeah.
He's in the process now of setting it up for testing.
Okay,
We do
can
have
we
an
see
image.
the design basis? Is
Yes.
it available online?
It is on it's on Twitter, it's on Telegram, but if you send me your
So you
email.
could see a model that shows the transaction flow.
You can see a model that shows the layout of the map, that shows the individuals, that shows the chat, and then it would show the number of coins that they would have based on their energy that they uploaded, and whether they want to use Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Tom, you're asking about the technology behind, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the flow of transactions and how I'd love to invest in your coin.
Right.
But I'm struggling with trying to, the white paper says that 1 coin represents a kilowatt hour. And that's why I'm struggling, because I'm an engineer and
I understand.
energy,
We understand.
right? And it's hard for me to put a utility coin, is that technically what you call it? A
It's a
utility token?
The currency that's on the exchange is utility.
Okay.
The token that's going to be generated is based on the energy. That's
Right.
your energy.
But ultimately, the claim, I'll say it that way, is that holding a token represents a kilowatt hour.
1 kilowatt hour.
Right, and as
That's right.
you said, typically, at least for those of us that live here, we're paying like 10 cents a kilowatt hour. So if I invest in a coin as an investor, and I know that legally that coin has no assets behind it. It's a representation of my belief that someday you're going to be bringing value to all these people who don't have energy right now. And I want to be part, philanthropically, I want you to be successful. But I also want to be able to explain to other people who may want to invest in such philanthropic activities that it's not just being philanthropic. There's a real basis for this investment such that it has a reasonable chance of not only being successful but making you profits, right?
Right.
So I'm a market-based guy. I'm a libertarian. So I love things that aren't based on U.S. dollars to bring value to people. I'm just struggling with this, and I'll say this. I really like the idea. I want you to be successful. But when I look at your website and I see virtually no one on there that's technical, I see all these marketing people. I see no one with any energy experience for an energy company.
We
I'm
do
going,
have
that kind of
other
just
partners.
goes, wait a minute, red flag, red flag.
Understand. But whatever information you need, I can provide it to you. But we do have a video that shows how the transactions will take place. That might be able to help you. But we have microgrid partners, we have grid development partners. One of our advisors, two of our advisors actually, are located in California, and they're in New York as well. We don't have everyone listed on our website, but a lot of the information is available. So I can provide you with that.
Good job.
Okay.
Well, we want to thank Monica, and we want to thank Elite Gaming, and you guys go ahead and stick around and network, and go easy on her, but you can continue to ask questions. And don't forget, we've got the Tech Mountain party tomorrow, 4:30 to 6:30, so come if you can, and we will be back at Tech Mountain in September for our regular meetup. And we are hoping to have a panel of miners at our next meetup, so you'll get some mining information, hopefully. All right? Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for organizing.